Hey y'all, my name's Michael. I'm an American expat who retired early, sold everything, and moved to Thailand to live my best life. And this is Retiring to Asia, the podcast. All right, well, welcome back everybody to another episode of Retiring to Asia, the podcast. This is another in the series of the expat interviews so that you get some opinions and some experiences of someone other than me. Today I'm with Martin. Martin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let's see, where do I start? Well, my story's fairly simple. Born and raised in Los Angeles. Normal upbringing, I guess, Hispanic upbringing, you could say. And nothing too out of the ordinary. But I guess I could say that, my whole normal process of, going through school, getting a job, getting another job, this, that, and the other. And by the time you eventually get to where you sort of find yourself and you kind of like eventually get dialed into quote unquote a career, you start to figure things out as you become an adult, and then you think you're set. So that went on for a good while, quite a few years. But at some point, I guess I can say that figuring out what's happening with LA and California in general. And at this point in my life, I just kind of decided to make a move and head out to Thailand
How long have you been here?
since October 1st of 23.
And you're on a retirement visa?
That is correct.
Okay, cool. So, why Thailand? Did you look anywhere else
Uh,
first? Had you traveled a lot in the past? What made you finally decide to land here?
well, interestingly enough, I sort of took a 3-week vacation back in 2019. Never been out to Asia, never been out to Europe or anything like that. Just, throughout quite a few of my working years, I would take, short little trips here and there, little road trips up and down California. Nothing major. And it was always me, myself, and I. So at some point, basically just live, basically living by myself at home, uh, you know, uh, after I took care of my dad for quite a few years, basically once he passed away, I was by myself. So I guess, at some point I kind of wanted to get out of the rut of Monday through Friday going to work, on the weekends, maybe a motorcycle ride with some friends, which was great. But like I said, it was a rut and it was just a monotonous sort of thing that would go on and on and on. And at some point, like I said, I just decided to head out to Thailand, to check it out. And that was in January of 2019. Had a great time. I stopped at Chiang Mai, a couple days in Bangkok, and eventually made my way down to Pattaya. Didn't have a plan. I just kind of, played it by ear and, made a few stops here and there, kind of explored the whole thing. At some point, I made up my mind, hey, I got to get back here as soon as I can. And because number one, the people are great. The weather is nice and warm all the time.
Right.
The food is awesome. To me, this is my idea of, I guess, I don't want to say it's like, it probably sounds corny to say this is heaven, but for me, this is about as close as you could possibly get. Um, so after my vacation, headed back to California, got back to work, and of course, 2020 kind of stopped everything.
Yeah, everything shut down.
Yeah, everything shut down. But in a way, it sort of helped me out as far as giving me the time and the opportunity to do some research, looking into the retirement visa and what things I needed to put into place to get back here legally and looking at it long term. And yeah, so basically, all said and done, in towards the end of 2023, here I am. Got rid of everything, gave away a bunch of furniture and a bunch of other belongings,
Yeah.
and sold my cars and the motorcycles, which I loved. But at some point, you just kind of give it up. And,
Yeah.
If you're the type of person that can give it up, in my case, I didn't have, I had choices. I could either stay there and continue working for God knows how long, or just make the move. And I figured, why not?
Yeah, so you got rid of everything. You said you sold your house, you sold your motorcycles. How much stuff did you actually bring with you?
Uh, Two suitcases and my backpack with my laptops, two laptops, and my iPad and my phone, and
Yeah,
some clothes basically in the suitcases. Not a lot of personal belongings as far as like actual items. Mainly some clothes that I brought with me, which you don't really actually need to bring so much stuff with you because I've
very
got,
true.
yeah, I got
Yeah,
5 pairs of jeans. And in the, what, 7 months that I've been here, I haven't worn jeans once.
yeah. I think
Because,
I've worn my jeans one time.
yeah. And I'm just wearing t shirts all the time and shorts.
Yeah,
And
and even that, it's so cheap to buy clothes here,
yeah,
right? So you can go and get like a dry fit T-shirt for $3, $4,
yeah.
or less, less
Cheaper if
sometimes.
you look
Yeah,
around, I
and
guess.
sandals, flip flops, or $1 or $2. I'm pretty sure the last time I actually broke down and bought some Crocs to wear outside.
Okay.
Just easy on, easy off. Because one thing here, you're always taking your shoes on and off to go in and
Yeah,
out of places.
absolutely.
So like tennis shoes, tie up stuff,
Yeah.
buckles on sandals. That got tiring
Yeah.
quick. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm getting flip flops
Yeah.
and I'm getting a pair of Crocs. Anyway, I think I paid like 60 baht for them, so not even $2 for
Yeah.
a pair. I mean, of course, they're not Crocs brand, but the knockoff Crocs.
But you can
Um,
get anything you want here. As
Everything,
far as
yeah,
like, if you want to go the cheap route, yeah, you could get like knockoff shoes that aren't like the actual Nike brand. Or if you want to spend extra money and get the actual Nikes, you can get those here too.
yeah, and it's
Probably a
still not
little.
expensive. I mean,
It,
it's more expensive than the knockoffs, obviously, but it's not quite
it's
American
still
price.
cheaper
Yeah.
than in the U.S.
Yeah, and we've got an outlet mall up at the end of Tepperset Road. We've got malls are huge in Thailand. They
Night
build them
markets.
big and they build them full of theming, and then the night markets
Yeah,
for new clothes or even secondhand clothes. If you want
absolutely.
anything cheap, definitely hit the night markets.
Yeah.
You mentioned when you were waiting out COVID and trying to make the final decision that you basically boiled down to two decisions. Is what I think you were getting at was you could decide to stay and keep working, or you could decide to retire and go relax. And
Mhm.
and that's kind of like I think that was the same for me when I was getting ready to make the move. I knew I wanted to retire. I knew I was done working. I was just totally burnt out.
Mhm.
But I couldn't retire in the U.S. If I stayed in the U.S., I had to keep working just because of the cost of living. Everything
Yeah.
there's so much more expensive. And then having come here and checked it out and checked a couple other places, I was in this process of looking at like 10 different places. I had narrowed my list down to and looking at the cost of living. When I did the math and realized that no, I can retire now. I'm not eligible for Social Security. I'm not eligible to get into my 401 or anything like that yet.
Mhm.
I got a couple years worth of savings that would get me through until I
Yeah.
can start picking those things up. So it was like, why keep working? Why keep working that grind and running on that hamster wheel of living to work and making somebody else enjoy life by making the money for them that
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 1000%. And I guess in my case, never married, no kids. So I had no actual attachments like dependents. Um, and I think that was a big part of my decision to just cut
yeah,
off all my ties and be willing to give everything up. All your possessions and all your, actual belongings. That at the end of the day, I kind of looked at the stuff I had and I was like, I didn't have a fancy house or anything, but it was a big enough 3 bedroom house. But for me alone,
right, yeah.
and the 2 cars and 3 motorcycles,
You
nice
had a
to
bedroom for every motorcycle. Did they
basically,
sleep
yeah,
inside with you?
yes, absolutely. No, but it was like at the end of the day, you get to the point where, do I really need all this stuff?
Yeah,
And you kind of have to sort of, at least myself, I kind of was thinking about Saturday night. I'm sitting there watching different auto racing somewhere, and I'm like thinking, what am I doing here? Saturday night, and I'm like here by myself. You know, why don't I get out of here and go to Thailand? And obviously at that point I had already been here on vacation,
Yeah.
but I was like seriously looking into the fact that, you know what, I'll
Mhm.
just give all this up, you know, and sell the car and sell the motorcycles and whatever I can and get out here.
Yeah, because you can get stuff everywhere,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, you're sitting at home Saturday night.
Hmm.
I was doing the same thing, sitting there by myself, still paying the mortgage, still paying, insurance, health insurance, all
Yeah.
that other kind of stuff that goes with living in America or living in the West, and working to have to pay for all those things. And that realization that if I just move and retire now, I don't have to pay those things anymore.
Yeah.
If I want those things, I can still get them over there, but I can go and start relaxing and enjoying life. So it's kind of a no-brainer, at least it was
I
for
think,
me, to go,
yeah,
no, it's time.
absolutely. Because, and not that there's anything wrong with the way of life in LA or in America, let's just say. It's just that I kind of started to realize, it was apparent to me anyway, that it's like, hey, you need the latest and greatest iPhone.
Yeah.
You need, the new iPad. Oh, hey, get this. Oh, hey, your 50-inch TV is not good enough. You need a 60-inch LED whatever TV. And
Right.
you need a new car every year. And that's fine. I mean, that is the way the wheels, of commerce work. But I think a lot of it is, the promotional stuff that's out there, the Christmas sale,
Oh
Thanksgiving
yeah.
sale, New Year's sale, St. Patrick's Day sale, Fourth of July,
Yeah.
new
It's
cars.
Wednesday sales.
Yeah, and I'm like thinking, come on, again, I understand that's
Yeah.
commerce, that's the industry, that's great, but it wasn't making me happy.
Yeah.
So now I can honestly say I don't have two cars, three motorcycles, and all this other stuff, but I've got the beach, 20 feet across from where I live.
Yeah. You
So,
can't beat it.
great
Yeah.
food and happy people all around. You can't help but be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am.
I've got that T-shirt that I like, and it's die with memories, not dreams. And that getting trapped in that consumerism and
Yeah,
having to have the newest phone or the newest tablet or car or whatever it is, new TV, you spend on those little things that end up cluttering up your countertop or
yeah,
the garage,
yeah,
and because of those things, sometimes you don't get to go and do. And I'd much rather I'm enjoying going and doing and living and experiencing the world and seeing the world,
hmm,
instead of sitting at home on a Saturday night with a bunch of stuff
yeah.
and a lot of bills. So, what if, and since you got rid of everything, you've been here, what if anything do you still miss about home or back in the U.S.?
Mexican food.
I know
Yeah.
what you mean. Yeah.
Um, let's see. I do think about a few things that I miss. Besides Mexican food, there's other things. Friends that I still keep in touch with, obviously either through text, the occasional phone call or something, which is nice. Uh, but again, I think maybe it's just me, but there's enough stuff to do here to keep you active or to keep your mind going,
Yeah.
or, you know, myself anyway. I was pretty boring person back in LA. I mean, I kind of see myself as kind of a boring kind of person in LA. Here, I'm, out and about everywhere,
Yeah.
in the mornings, in the afternoons, in the daytime. I got hooked up with this group of guys that we do little motorbike tours around here. I recently bought a mountain bike, a fairly decent mountain bike, and now I'm hooked up with this other group of cyclists. And so there's stuff to do here, not just going to the bars and hanging out at the bars and stuff. I mean, a lot of people kind of think, oh, Pattaya is
Yeah.
known for that.
Yeah. It's got a reputation.
Yeah, it's got a reputation, but if that's the only thing you're coming here for, then it's probably somebody who's going to be here on vacation or holiday just for 2, 3 weeks or something and go back and maybe get that out of
Yeah.
their system. In
Yeah.
my
It's
case, yeah, I came here pretty much with a established mentality before I got here. I mean, for the past year before getting here, I was like, okay, I need to get my finances in order, plan things out on what I need, how am I going to move myself around, where do I get a motorbike, how do I set up my visa and driver's license and all that. But at the same time, you got to stay focused, Martin. You can't just go and start splurging money all over the place, because 8 months down the road, you look in your wallet and the money's gone. There's nothing left, and then what do? You have no choice but to go back to the U.S., get back to work, and eventually try to retire down the road. But that's not going to work. And I think I'm a sensible enough person to kind of know the difference between right and wrong, and or at least my way of looking at how I want to stay here long term.
Yeah. You just hit on like a, I don't know, bunch of different topics there.
I do that a lot.
That's okay. No, they're all great topics, but I want to back up and dive into a couple.
Sure.
I'm going to go back to one while I can remember it, but
All right.
short-term memory, I'll probably forget the other two. You talked about the things that you're doing, the group riding the motorbikes, the group riding the bicycles, and you said you lived kind of a boring life back in America. And I'm the same way. I think I've got a video out on YouTube about my boring life here. A lot of people would say it's boring. I'm not bored. But the point I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit is boredom. And a lot of people who move here actually end up moving back because they get bored. If they do nothing but sit in a bar all day or sit in their condo all day and binge Netflix or whatever it is they're doing or not doing, boredom's dangerous. You have nothing but time on your hands to think, and those intrusive thoughts, those negative thoughts will burn in there. You'll start missing home more. So you got to find things to do. And that's where you started talking about things to do in Pattaya or anywhere, wherever you go, right? The important part is find something. Right? You've got to make some connections. You've got to get involved with some groups. You got to get out of the house. It's just good for you. And it makes life so much more fun. You see it so much more. You do so much more. And
it's so easy to make connections, like you said. In Los Angeles, you can't be out in public and even make contact with somebody like a perfect stranger because they might take it the wrong way, whether it's male or female.
Right.
Here, at least my experience, wherever I go and I'm sitting at a restaurant or I'm having a smoothie, I'm sitting on a bench somewhere or something, guaranteed within 10, 15 minutes, somebody will walk by. I just, say hi, and a conversation starts.
Yeah.
Male or female, or whether it's an American person, usually it'll be like a German guy, a British guy or something. And I made a few friends, that I would never make friends that easy in LA. Never. Here, you're just sitting on, having a smoothie on a bench by the beach. Next thing you know, you got a friend, and next thing you know, is you're exchanging your WhatsApp, I should say, your information for Line, which is like the easiest thing where you just scan each other's little QR code off your phones, and now you got a friend.
Texting, it's keeping in contact, keeping engaged, having things to do is important. And it definitely it just makes life more enjoyable, right? And whether that's here or still back at home, retired or not, right? Boredom's dangerous. Get out, find some friends.
Pick up a hobby.
Life is what you make of it.
Yeah.
So get out and make something of it.
Yeah. Pick up a hobby and go with it.
Yeah.
Try something new for a change, and if you don't like the chess club, go find some other club to join or something.
Golfing's big here.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of little badminton's big
Fly
here.
a kite.
Fly a kite. Yeah, they're all over the beach, and they have. People fly kites here a lot.
Yeah. And then, even if you yourself, well, I don't know, I can't find a hobby for myself. Well, okay, fine. Just walk down the road a bit. There's always some sort of international activity. I mean, international volleyball tournaments. international kite flying tournaments, international jet ski races.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's happening just, walking distance from here.
Yeah, and it's
And
not just
and it's all
water sports. It's all kinds of sports. There's well, a lot of it's beach themed, right? Beach
yeah,
soccer
right.
and beach
Beach
volleyball.
soccer
That kind of stuff. But yeah, there's always something going on in Pattaya. So you can, sadly, you can still be alone and go and
yeah,
at least you're outside doing stuff. But
yeah,
those are great opportunities to go and if you're sitting watching a game or something, you start talking to the person next to you.
absolutely. And
It's a
they're all
great way to
free.
meet people. Yeah, the vast majority of them, free. Just walk up and make a weekend of it. Concerts,
Yeah,
sporting events,
absolutely.
cultural events, you name it. There's stuff
And if you're
everywhere.
hungry, just walk 10 feet in any direction and you're going to find Thai food
Yeah, there's going to
everywhere.
be some kind of food cart or store or
Yeah,
coffee vendor or soda
yeah,
vendor out there. It's
absolutely.
it's great. Yeah,
Good
but
stuff.
there's so much to do here. So much more to do than
The
just the
bars.
reputation that
Yeah,
Pattaya has.
absolutely.
And so it's kind of unfortunate it has that, but that's really limited to a very small area of town too. Even in Bangkok, right? You get the
Yeah.
whole Bangkok has kind of the same reputation. It's really just a few
Nana,
small places.
Nana
Yeah, Nana
Plaza, Soy
Plaza.
Cowboy, and all that. Yeah.
Right. And,
I mean,
and they'll have on the YouTube channel, there'll be a video coming out soon where I did a couple days in Bangkok while a friend was here. And I'd never been on Soy Cowboy. And when I looked at the map, the MRT station that took us to the hotel where we were staying was like a block away from Soy Cowboy. I'm like, well, let me just walk down it and make a video. And I'm thinking, it's going to be big like Beach Road or something because I had no frame of reference. I've never seen it. It's really small. It's not even as long as like Soy 7, Soy 8, between Second Road and Beach Road, Pattaya.
no,
It's not even that
no.
big. It was really small. I think I walked the whole thing in a minute and a half, like full video, one into the other was like
But
a
it's a
minute 30.
reputation, and that's why everybody comes here from England and
Yeah,
Germany and Australia because of the reputation.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So, but yeah, and there's lots to do here, and there's you
lots
just
to
have to
do.
get out and explore.
Mhm.
What's so we talked about what you left behind, what you miss. What's been your biggest adjustment or the most difficult thing to adjust to since you moved?
There's a few, but I don't think it's anything that you can't figure out a way to get around it. The language barrier.
Right.
You adjust to the language barrier, and living here in Jomtien, so many, you know, uh, uh, Thai people speak English already.
Yeah.
Like all the restaurants you go to, the little bars and the little hangout areas, or wherever you go, everybody speaks English. But yeah, I want to say the language barrier is still sort of there, but that's not their fault.
Right.
That's why I'm trying to pick up a few Thai
Yeah.
phrases here and there, and I say hi, good morning, and a couple other things in Thai, and at least I could count to five. But
Yeah.
I'm working on trying to learn a little, Thai and pick up a few phrases. But yeah, you just kind of adjust to certain little barriers that the culture, some things that I'm always mindful of what I might not get away with. Like as far as like some things that you shouldn't be doing. When you go to a temple. I mean,
Right.
something as simple as you walk to a temple, and there's tons of temples here. They're all beautiful and everything, and I like going to explore all these different temples with
Mhm.
their own theme. But when you go in there, you're more than welcome to walk in. But number one, you have to be dressed semi appropriately.
Yeah.
But you take your shoes off
Yeah.
and you walk in, and it's great because it doesn't matter what your background is or what your religious background happens
Right.
to be. You're more than welcome to go in there.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that obviously you can and can't do. But just being here, eventually you pick up on things that are not culturally acceptable
Yeah.
for Thai people. And it's not anything that you're like, oh, I'm going to do whatever I want. No, you
Yeah.
shouldn't think that way because you're in their country.
Right. Yeah. You
Yeah.
shouldn't think that way. Unfortunately, there
Yeah.
are a bunch of people who just don't get that, but they're everywhere.
Yeah,
They're
that's
not
true.
just here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's things that you have to just be wary of or aware of. Um, Things like at home, right? If you're paying for something and you drop a dollar bill and it starts to blow away, I mean, it's natural instinct to stomp on that thing and stop it from blowing down the
Absolutely.
road. But you don't do that here.
You don't do
Boom,
that
you'll
here.
get fussed at for that. You'll get some
Yeah.
ugly looks at a minimum. because
Absolutely.
the money has the image of the king on it, and here the royal family, you don't even speak bad about them
No.
in public, or even in most private settings. People won't do it
Hmm.
because you get in big trouble for that.
Oh
So
yeah.
you don't say bad things about the royal family. You definitely don't step on money if it's blowing
No.
away. You let it blow. Somebody else is going to catch it if you can't, and they'll hand it back to you. But I've caught myself several times. I'll drop a coin, and it'll start to spin, and you just, oh, no, don't do it.
Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely.
things with your feet, right? Like stepping on a coin, like pushing a door open.
Yeah.
Really, I open a door and I'll just like put my foot.
Hmm.
You don't do things with your feet. You don't point with your feet. You don't.
You don't even put even at your own place, a coffee table or something. You don't
Yeah, don't
put your
put your feet
feet
on it.
on a coffee table or something like
Yeah.
that. Even if
Oh,
it's your own place,
yeah,
people will
that's
say,
another
"What
thing.
are you doing? That's rude."
Yeah.
I mean, at a restaurant or a hotel lobby,
Yeah.
that's I've seen a couple people, a German family, and they'll get on the couch, they get on their phone, and they'll put their feet on the table or something. And I don't say anything, but there, sure enough, somebody's going to come by, like one of the staff from the
Yeah.
hotel, and tell them politely, they'll say, "Can you not put your feet on the table?" Just something simple
Yeah.
like that. And they're like, "Oh, okay," because
Yeah.
they didn't know.
Right.
But
Yeah, but
again,
you're not home.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you're
So
not in your living room.
and just be respectful
Yeah.
of certain things and some traditions that they hold dear to their culture. It's been part of their culture forever. You can't just come here from America or Canada
Right.
or Australia or wherever you come from and just expect to just live your life like you did back home,
Yeah.
because it's a completely different world here. It's 180 degrees from wherever you came from
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. And I did a video. It's like, um, I think the title of it was "Don't Move Here," right? And it was like, if you can't adapt to these five things,
yeah,
maybe Thailand's not for you.
absolutely.
And the big theme of that was adapting to Thailand, right? Not trying to move here from wherever it is, wherever home is for you, and wherever you move to, Thailand or otherwise. You can't move there and expect to make it just like where you came from.
Yeah,
I mean, first of all, for me, like, I wanted to leave. So why would I want to try and make this place the same as where I just left? But that's
that's
just
it.
me. Yeah.
Hmm.
So a lot of people, on top of boredom being a problem, will get here and they can't adjust to the culture. They can't adjust to the heat and the humidity.
I was going to say
They,
the heat and
yeah,
humidity.
they
Absolutely.
can't adapt, right? And
No.
they get frustrated and they get upset and just they get so wound up in trying to. It's not like home. It's not like home. Well, no, it's not like home because
That's why
you're
you
not
left.
home.
That's why you
Yeah,
left. Yeah.
it's Thailand. You
Mhm.
have to adjust to Thailand. Thailand's not going to bend to you.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it. Really successful immigration, migration has to do with being able to adapt to where you are,
That's a
and
key.
you'll be very, very happy if you can do that, and
Yeah.
you'll be very unhappy if you can't, because you're this constant struggle, right? You're fighting life.
And you're not going to win.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
will
you're
not
not going
win.
to win.
You will
You
not
just have
win.
to succumb to the way of life here. And, there's certain things. I'm going to say infrastructure, the streets, the sidewalks are a little tricky
The
sometimes.
sidewalks are
Yeah.
worse than the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The street. But having said that, if you go, because we're on Beach Road,
Right.
and the street is fine. There's a little bit of construction going on, but that's okay. It's got to get done. No problem. But if you get out of here, like on the other side of the dark side, and you take like Sukhumvit out to, I want to say inland,
Mhm.
and you're kind of like in the middle of the jungle, but yet the road is flawless.
Yeah, they're in
And
great
I'm like
shape.
riding my scooter going like, oh my, I'll pull over and start taking pictures going like, this is like, the concrete is like spotless,
Spotless, yeah.
you know?
It's smooth, it's clean,
Yeah.
it's
So,
wide open. It's everything is new, right? The motorways,
yeah,
the highways are in really good shape. So it's actually pretty pleasant once you get away from the city traffic. It's pretty pleasant to drive.
absolutely. So, yeah, adapting to the way of life here, adapting to things like the infrastructure where you happen to live, that you can't expect it to be exactly like it was at home. And just like I said, just go with it, go with the flow.
Let's take a look at the flip side of that. So that was all about hardest adjustments.
Mhm.
Talked about a lot of things you liked. You got to narrow it down to one. What's the best thing about living in Thailand?
Hmm. I think for me personally, I'm going to say it's the feeling I get when I wake up almost every morning and having that feeling of gratitude. Honestly, I could say that. It's, when I wake up, I wake up early no matter what. I just naturally wake up early. And one of the first things I feel is happiness or joy, uh, whatever you want to call it. But for me, internally, it's gratitude because I know I'm well, I know I'm safe, I'm healthy, and I'm grateful for all those things. And I'm so grateful to be in this place. Even though I am the foreigner here, I'm, you know, uh, more than a minority here because, you know, out of all the foreigners, there's X amount or whatever percentage happens to be Americans. The other percentage from England, X
Right.
amount from Australia. Yeah, I came from America, but I'm like the only Mexican for like 100-mile radius.
Right.
So, but having, even with all that, I don't feel like I'm out of place, to be
Right.
honest with you,
Yeah.
Um,
It's a very
yeah,
accepting culture here, and it's such a
definitely.
big Pattaya, Bangkok,
Mhm.
Thailand in general, but in the cities, huge melting pot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Everybody kind of coming from everywhere.
Yeah. And
So
people,
it's
they'll ask you, "Oh, where are you from?" And I tell them, "Oh, I'm from America, California." "Oh, California, okay." And they're happy when you kind of, you know, in my case, I'll throw out a few Thai phrases, and they're like, "Oh, okay, cool." So when they know you're retired here, they treat you, I think, a little bit better because they figure, "Oh, this guy's here kind of long term,
not just a
not just to
tourist.
party
Yeah.
on soy six or something." So yeah, going back to your, your comment about me being happy and grateful, that's one of the greatest things for me to feel that pretty much on a daily basis.
And I take it
You
that's
know,
different from how you felt when you woke up in LA.
when I woke up in LA, I had to go to work early in the morning, Monday through Friday and stuff.
Right.
And I was, even then, yeah, I was still grateful that I was healthy enough to, keep a roof over my head and feed myself and so forth and so on and all that. Yeah, grateful to be in America. Unfortunately, I kind of really don't like the way America's going
Yeah.
in
Not as
general.
grateful as we used to be, huh?
Uh,
So,
I just in general, I know it's not the vast majority of the population and the
right.
citizens there. I just think, and this is just my humble opinion, I just honestly think that the people that are in charge now are not being professional, and I'm not trying to get political or anything, but it doesn't matter whether it's the left side or the right side or somewhere in between. Nobody seems to want to work with each other anymore. So it's all kind of going downhill, kind of sad to say. But anyway, let's not go down that
Yeah.
route.
we're,
Um,
we're diving into all kinds of
yeah,
comments coming in.
yeah, no, and I'm not bashing the U.S., of course, because
Yeah.
I'm grateful to have been born there. But having said that, I'm grateful to be here and
Yep.
grateful that I get to spend the rest of my life in this great country in the kingdom of Thailand, the
Yeah.
land of smiles.
That's right. You had any bad experiences since you moved here?
You know what? Interestingly enough, I don't want to say I've had bad experiences, just my trip here. I had a layover in Hong Kong, which was supposed to be like 3 hours.
Mm.
And it wasn't a nightmare or anything, but the 3 hours turned into like an overnight thing. And I got held up in Hong Kong. It was, I was by myself.
Yeah.
I had to be here. I was expected to be here to check in to the place I had set up to live for the first month, but that didn't happen. And the fact that I didn't have connection on my phone
Oh
unless I
man.
had Wi-Fi. So anyway, the minute I stepped foot in Thailand, everything has been fairly smooth.
Yeah.
Everything has been, I don't want to say a dream, but overall, yeah, everything's good. Bad experiences, you're going to have bad
Sure.
experiences everywhere.
Yep.
Um, you know, you'll go up to some place. I think I went on my own to the immigration office at some point,
Right.
and I think somebody there was having a bad day. I asked a question. It was early. They had just opened up, and I think of the two girls that were behind the counter, they're busy kind of setting things up. And I'm standing there politely, and then at some point, one of the gals looks at me and she said, like, what? Not rude, but
Yeah.
she's like, what does this guy want? So I showed her on my phone, oh, I'm looking for this form or this or that, the TM30 or something. Or I wanted to give her a copy of it or can I print one out, whatever the case was. And then she just kind of pointed at the other desk, information desk or something. Oh, go there. Okay, thank you, cup, cum, cup. And then, as I walked away, I just thought to myself, she's probably having a bit of a bad day.
Hadn't
She
had her
probably,
coffee yet.
exactly, yeah, that's probably, but I mean, to what degree do you let that affect you personally?
Right.
If you hold on to that, the fact that I had a little bit of an interaction with this person who was not smiling, it's not a big deal. I took care of business, walked out the door, everything was smooth. And by the time I was 50 feet away, I forgot about the whole
Yeah, you just gotta
situation.
let that stuff go.
You just let it go
Yeah.
and end of
And it
story.
still wouldn't have been as bad as an experience at DMV.
No, yeah.
So-
That's the whole, that's a real nightmare.
right, or service at like fast food or something.
Yeah.
So busy
Yeah.
immigration office,
Yeah.
and you get a what? So
Yeah,
that's
but
the funny stuff.
I've been lucky enough to not have
Yeah.
any major bad experiences. Everything's been fairly smooth. Thank goodness.
Now, you touched earlier, and one of the things that you had talked about, I said I wanted to get back to, and I would forget. I
Yeah.
forgot, but it just came back to me.
Uh-huh.
You talked about doing some financial planning and getting yourself straight, and you talked about, if you don't plan and if you come here and you just kind of blow through your money, at one point you're going to open your wallet and go, uh-oh, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, one of the facts of retirement is generally there's not as much coming in as there used to be.
Hmm.
You want to talk about your budget a little bit? How you plan for it? What's
I don't have a budget.
I
I,
spend as much as I want because I'm loaded.
no, 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 no. That's not it at all. Again, I think it's internal and the type of person you are, your personality. If you come here and you're like, all right, I'm in Pattaya, I'm going to go to every bar. I'm going to do this. That's fine if
You
you
can
want to
blow
do
through a
that.
lot of money.
You could do that easily
Yeah.
within 6 months or less. You could
Yeah.
burn through all your money, no problem. I came here with the set, my mindset was, again, I want to be here long term till I'm 105 years old or whatever. And, and enjoy the sunsets
Yeah.
every evening or whatever.
Yeah.
And as far as a budget, I mean, I've got everything I need. I doing my research before I got here, I got the motorbike I wanted to get. I got my mountain bike. I've got a place to live, this nice luxury condo. I keep hearing on your videos luxury condo. So I'm like, well, I mean, luxury, the fact that we have the beach like 10 feet across. But yeah, now that I never thought about it as a
Yeah.
luxury. But I mean, if you compare it to somewhere like Malibu, California on the coast, I mean, yeah. Anyway, getting sidetracked. Um, yeah, it's a nice place. I've got what I need, and I want to say I feel like I don't really need much else as far as like
Yeah.
personal belongings and actual physical stuff. I've got my laptop, I got my iPad, my phone. That's it. I'm
Yeah.
good. The motorbike and the scooter. I'm sorry, the scooter and my mountain bike that I have. That's all I need. For a while, I was kind of tossing the idea of actually buying a little car.
Yeah.
When the heavy rains come. But I've been in the rain on my motorbike, and that's not a big deal because the weather's still warm.
That's right.
So
They say there are three seasons in Thailand: hot, very hot, and hot and wet.
yeah, there you go. That's it. But overall, I mean, I don't need a car. I don't have a wife and kids that I need to, drive around to
Right.
X place or anything. So motorbike is more than enough for me. If I do need a car to go somewhere, you just grab, Bolt app on your
Yeah.
phone. And for like $1 $50, it'll take you anywhere you want, or
Yeah, you can
$2
get
or
it.
whatever.
Transportation here
Yeah.
is so cheap and easy
Yeah.
that yeah, if you want to go, you go buy something big and you're like, well, that's not going to fit on the back of the scooter to get home.
Yeah.
You can get things delivered for
I've
like a
done that.
dollar or two
I've,
dollars, or
I've
you
done
get a
that.
Bolt and they'll basically call an Uber.
Yeah.
Bolt is the version of Uber here, or the similar service, car service, and just load it in their car
You
and
ready
be
to go?
right back. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, so budget, I mean, I wake up every morning, go get my daily cup of coffee or couple cups of coffee and my pancake at the same place. So breakfast and lunch are a standard thing, and I don't go out shopping on a regular basis for anything else because, uh, you know, I think, and we might have spoken about this, previously, where I said once I get to Thailand, that's like the finish line for me,
Yeah.
you know, and not to compare it to America, but you know, in America, you get like a nice car, and the next thing you know is like 6 months down the road, you need a nicer car,
Right.
and so forth. So there is no finish line. The mentality is you got to have something else. You got to achieve that.
What's next?
You got to climb up higher on the ladder at work, or get a different position, or change careers or whatever. For me, being here, living where I live in Jomtien, that is the finish line. I think I cross the finish line, and that's it. I mean, if World War III happens tomorrow and we don't exist after tomorrow, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it might kick off, and I wouldn't know about it because I don't watch TV. I don't
Yeah,
watch the news here.
exactly.
I don't listen
Let
to
them do.
radio. I'm like, I got no idea what's going on in the
Yeah,
world. I'm
but
just happy and enjoying Thailand.
yeah, yeah. What is it? Ignorance is bliss.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I keep in touch with what's happening in the world, but if it's not good news, then I kind of like, okay, that's enough bad news, no more, and then
Get off
go
of
for
it.
a walk or jump on my bike and go for a ride.
Yeah, yeah. It's so much easier here to
Turn it off.
turn it off.
Yeah.
Keep a positive mindset. Have that positive outlook on life just by not letting all the garbage in.
Absolutely.
Right? And in so many other places, you're just inundated with that. Right. The only news is bad news, and that just eats away at you. And it's a lot of times it's not news. It's just something somebody's telling you. It's not newsworthy. It's just negativity being
And all the
poured out.
scandals.
Yeah.
It's like, I got so sick and tired of, back home, it was like an endless stream of scandals where it's like what you hear today outdoes what happened yesterday.
Yeah, they gotta
But
one up.
wait, tomorrow it's going to be even worse. And the day after it's even worse. And it was just never ending.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I had enough of this. At my age, I don't want to wait till I'm 65 to retire and do what? Sit at home and, maybe go for an occasional bike ride or something on my motorcycle back home in LA or something. And, I just had enough of it. And,
Yeah, retire while you can still enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you're waiting for the right time,
it's never going to come.
that time is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you keep making excuses, I need to do this first, and then this, and then the other thing, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
You've just got to, pull the lever and
Yeah.
make the leap. Whatever little saying you want to say, you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And get out there and at least try it, right? Because then you can at least say, well, I tried, and here's what I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And then you try again, right? You adjust from that and go on, but you've got to do it. And
There's a quick little analogy of something I picked up a couple years ago, where it has something to do with the Vikings, ages ago, where things weren't going so great where they happened to live. So quite a few of them that were in charge said, hey, everybody in the village, get on the ships, 1 or 2 ships or whatever. We're going to pack up everything we can, take a couple chickens or whatever, and we're heading out to greener pastures. So they did that. Like everybody in the village was like, yeah, this place sucks. So they get on their ships, they headed off somewhere, landed out in the new land. Everybody gets off, and they burnt the ships. The guys in charge, they burned the ships, and they're like, that's it. We either make it happen here in our new land, because there's no going back. We don't have ships. And in a way, that's the way I looked at it,
and then one of them went, oh, we could have used that wood for something.
Sorry.
Like, oh well,
Sorry, Charlie. It's gone.
start chopping. There's more trees out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's. I mean, you've just got to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
And,
I
and
have no intent of going back to
yeah,
the
me
U.S. I
either. Same.
mean, I it's sad to say, but I don't really have family. I have one sister. We don't keep in touch, unfortunately. Do have a couple friends that I do keep in touch with, high school buddies. Uh, you know, and that's it. Like I said, I got to the finish line. This
Yeah,
is my finish line.
it's easy to make yourself happy. That way you don't have to worry about making everybody else happy, right?
Absolutely.
And
And
solo travel, like when things went wrong in Hong Kong, aren't you glad you weren't dragging like kids with you or something, right?
oh
And
yeah,
you're like, oh, what
absolutely.
do I do? You know, it was one
Yeah.
of the worst things about going on vacation was,
Mhm.
if something went wrong, and then
Yeah.
I got to take care of the kids and how are they going to eat and what are they going to do.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be at this stage of life.
Hmm.
Or, sorry, kids, if you're listening. It's nice to be at this stage and go. You know what? If something happens, it's just happening to me, and
Exactly.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. Anytime I come across like a slightly negative situation, like when I got held up in Hong Kong, it was something out of my control.
Yeah.
So if I had no control over it, there was no reason for me to start yelling at anybody. What am I going to do? Yell at the gal at the counter
Not gonna
from
do
the
that
airline
either.
service or something? I can't yell at the pilot, whatever. So at that point, I just kind of like, okay, I thought to myself, hey, for whatever reason that may be, good or bad, you know, maybe God or the universe is keeping me here a little bit longer because of X reason, you
Right.
know, and whatever that is, it's going to be a good thing.
Right.
And, maybe there would have been an issue with the plane or something, the weather, the plane, the
Yeah, you
something
never
would,
know.
you never know.
Mhm.
So for whatever reason, I got held up a little bit. Okay, no big deal. Whatever. I was, had plenty of water. I had some snacks in my backpack, so everything was okay. Um, but again, if you keep enough of a positive attitude or mental
Yeah.
state, you know, uh, that tends to kind of carry through, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe because of all that, and I kind of like, you know, left it all on a positive note. Once I got to Thailand, everything's been positive and
Yeah.
smooth sailing.
There's some great wisdom in what you just said,
Oh,
right?
thanks.
If you can't control it, why worry about it?
Yeah, just
Right?
let it go.
There's no point, right? If
Yeah.
again, you're just fighting life, and unfortunately, it took me a long time to learn that, and Thailand has really helped me
Mhm.
um, live that more. Like, eh,
Yeah.
oh well,
Yeah.
that's the attitude now. Oh well, I can't control it. I'm not
Sabai
gonna worry about
sabai.
it. Sabai sabai. There you go.
That's it. Yeah,
Just let
Thailand
it
will
happen.
teach you patience.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with your last truth bomb of if you can't control it, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
To wrap things up, if someone watching on YouTube or listening now on podcasts is thinking about, man, I want to be like Martin someday, what's the last bit of advice you want to give folks?
I think the advice would be to take the leap if you can. Plan a few things to, get your strategy to move and retire wherever you want to go. Just do it, go for it, and adapt.
Yep. Yeah, when you decide you're going to go somewhere to live, you made that decision for a reason.
Absolutely.
Right? So embrace that, right? You can take you said this is the place I want to go. This is why I want to go, right? You make all that mental preparation and all the justifications that go, okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
When you get there, don't fight it. Just go with it.
Just go with it.
Yeah, and enjoy all of the reasons why you decided to move there. That's awesome. So I really appreciate you sitting down and
No
taking
problem.
time to share your experiences and the
My
things
pleasure.
learned and all the wisdom that you've given folks here today. So with that, we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks again.
Thanks.